In this video tutorial series, I'm going to show you how to create a platform game using Microsoft's MakeCode Arcade. Now, because this is a fairly complex tutorial, I'm going to split it up into a number of different videos where I show you a different technique in each one. Now, before we get started on the first tutorial today, I'm going to show you a quick example of what the game is going to look like once we are finished coding it. Okay, so basically we've got this game screen here where we are this little, it's meant to be a princess, but it's a bit pixelated to actually see that. And your job is to move around collecting the coins in the game. Okay, so you can bounce around. If you hit the flowers, okay, there's this little bee that flies around trying to sting you. Okay, I'm just going to show you that I can die there by hitting the lava. I better actually try a bit harder this time and show you how to work your way through the game. So as I hit these flowers, a little bee comes over. You actually have to jump on the bee's head to kill it. Okay, if the bee gets to you before you can jump on its head, it will result in the loss of a life, like so. So just watch those flowers. You can collect them if you want, because you do get points if you kill a bee. But if it does hit you, just be careful, because it will take away a life. So let's keep going, and then eventually you get to the end of the level there and you've got a portal that you need to run through. So I'll just do that now, and that takes me across to level 2. Okay, so just work your way through level 2. Very similar setup, just a few more obstacles to avoid. You can see those orange fireballs floating around in the sky there you've got to avoid. If you're working your way through some of the lower platforms, because I'm going across the top here, I don't have too many to worry about. If I fall down here, there's the final portal, and this will end the game. Okay, so it just gives you a final score there at the end. Alright, so as you can see, fair bit going on, but also plenty of room to expand on it. Okay, so once you've made this game, it would be cool to see you add in your own elements to the game to make it a little bit more exciting to play. Alright, so let's get started now on the first part of this game by heading over to the arcade.makecode.com website. And we're going to start a new project once you've signed in. And we'll just call it something like Platformer. And click on Create. Now what we're going to be doing in this video is just setting up a simple background and getting our main character working, just by having our little princess move left and right and be able to jump up and down on platforms. Okay, so let's start, as we always do, in the scene drawer here, and we'll grab a background image for our background today. We're going to click on this blank square and we're going to draw our own. I want you to grab the pencil tool at the smallest size and grab the turquoise color and draw 3 mountains in the background. So there's one, a very dodgy one there. I might just do that one again, and there's 3. Once you've drawn 3, making sure that the colors reach right to the edge of the page, you can grab your fill tool here, which is like your fill bucket, and just click down the bottom there, and you can see your mountains are now filled in. We're then going to grab the light blue and click on the sky, which will fill in the sky color, and we're going to put in some white clouds in the sky as well. So just grab your pencil tool again, probably grab the second size up, or the middle sized pencil tool there, and make sure your color's white, and just draw some rough clouds in the sky there. How you do them is up to you. I usually just draw some little circles, and I guess they somewhat come out looking like clouds. Just quickly do a few there now. And then another little one off to the right. So 3 clouds I think is more than enough. Just make sure they look half decent. Yeah, that one's a bit blocky, but she'll be right. You can make your pencil a bit smaller if you want. Try and tidy those up a bit. That'll do. I'm not going to go any further. You get the idea. Okay, you can spend a bit more time making your background look good, but that's all you need. And when you click on OK, you'll see in a moment you've got that background in your game screen. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, now from here what we're going to do is put in some platforms just for our player to jump around on. Okay, so you'll need to go back to the scene here and look for the tile map section, and we're going to set up a tile map here. Just drag that out and drop it in underneath there, and I'm just going to use some blocks from the forest here. I might just use this one. Now just go and scatter some platforms around. We're not going to be able to see all these in our game screen, so just scatter them here, there and everywhere, and we'll see which ones show up in just a moment. There we go. Heaps of platforms there. We're actually going to delete this later on and do a brand new tile map. This is just for a bit of practice today. Now you need to turn your walls on here before you go any further. Grab your fill bucket and just click on each of those so they become solid walls and our player will not fall through them when she is jumping around shortly. Click on done and you should see a few of those platforms in a moment appear on your game screen. You won't see them all, okay, but you will see some of them, which is perfect. That's all we need to see for now. A couple of other things we can set up at this stage of the game is just the number of lives we're going to have at the beginning. So in your info tab there, we're going to set our lives to 3. That will put 3 little lives at the top of our game screen. Also in the info there, you can set your score to 0. Okay, that way every time we start our game, it resets our score back to 0. That's looking good. And now we can bring in our main character. So let's go to our sprites and we're going to set up a sprite here. We'll just rename this sprite. Let's just call it girl. Okay, and we're going to set the girl to the little princess characters. This one here with the pink hair. Just have her facing to the right. So I'm going to choose this one here. And I'm going to click on done. And we will leave it as kind player because obviously she is our player. There she is there on the screen now. So that looks good. She's a little bit big for my liking. Not too big, but a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do is scale her down. So in your sprites drawer, go to the very bottom and grab out that last block of code and set the girl scale to 0.75. Okay, we'll make her become a little bit pixelated. A bit hard to see what's going on. I don't know if 0.85 looks any better, but around that 0.75, 0.85 should be good enough. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is with our controller, we're going to move our girl with the buttons. Okay, let's go and test that out and see what happens. Just press play over here. Okay, so we should be able to move left and right, up and down. Okay, haven't got any gravity in our game yet, so she can't actually, I guess, jump up and down on the platforms yet. But we'll do that next. Okay, so we've got the buttons moving. Okay, when we're in a platformer game, what we're going to be doing here is moving left and right with the arrow keys, but we're going to actually press the space bar to jump. So we're going to disable the up and down arrow keys. So hit this little plus sign here where it says move girl with buttons. And we're going to set the velocity on the X axis, so left and right at 100, which is fine. But then on the velocity Y axis, set it to 0. And that stops our player from moving up and down. So if you go and test that again now, you should be able to move left and right, but you can no longer move up and down. Okay, so we're going to bring in this jumping functionality a little bit later. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up this gravity. Okay, so we're going to go back to the sprites here. And we're going to go to this one here. It says set my sprite X to 0 and bring that out. Okay, and instead we're going to say set the girl. And we're going to set the velocity on the Y axis. Okay, actually it's not the Y axis that we're looking for. It's the AY, the acceleration. Sorry, we'll come to the velocity later on. We're going to do the acceleration first of all there. And we're going to set that to 300. Okay, now when we press enter there, you might have seen that your girl just fell from the sky. So there's a bit of gravity pulling her down now onto the platforms. I'm pretty sure she won't be able to jump yet, so we can't really test that unless we jump off a platform here now. And yeah, she's falling down, which is good. We can't see her fall outside of the screen just yet, but we will set that up in just a moment by going to the scene menu. And we're going to be making the camera follow our girl sprite. Alright, so now when the acceleration pulls her down, the camera will go with her. So we should be able to move around now. And you can see the camera following the girl now, and that Y-axis acceleration pulling us down the page. Okay, and that's now at the very bottom of the page. I can't jump yet, so that's why I'm stuck on the bottom. But so far, that is looking good. Alright, next thing we might do is get the girl to turn left and right and face the correct way when she's moving around the page. So I'm going to go to the game update section for this. So look in your game drawer and get the on game update block of code. And we're going to need to do an if statement here. So in logic, I want you to bring out an if true then else. So if then else statement basically. And we're going to say if the girl is facing to the left, we're going to use the little sprite that is looking to the left. If she's looking to the right, then we're going to have the sprite facing to the right. Okay, so we're going to need to go back to logic here and get one of these greater than or less than symbols and drop it into the condition here. And we are going back to sprites now, and we're going to go down and grab this my sprite X and drop it in the first box. And it's going to be the girl. We're going to look at Vx, so the velocity on the x-axis. Zoom back one here. Okay, so if the girl's velocity on the x-axis is less than 0, that means we're moving to the left. Okay, so we want to bring up a sprite that has the girl looking to the left. So back in sprites here, we need to find a block here that says set image. I think it's towards the bottom. Yeah, it is the third last one there. So we're going to set the girl image to, and in your assets, bring out this little princess and swing her around by hitting the triangle there to flip her horizontally. Click done. So that's basically saying when we're pressing the left arrow key, the little princess will look like she's turning to the left. Okay, then we're going to put in an else statement here. Okay, and it's going to be if, actually what I'm going to do is press the plus sign here because I want else if. Okay, and I'm just going to duplicate this line of code here. So right click your mouse on that less than symbol and duplicate it. And I want you to pick it up and drop it where it says false there. And this time it's going to be if the girl's velocity on the x-axis is greater than 0, then let's duplicate this block of code now. We're going to set the girl image to and just flip it horizontally again so she's facing the right. So if our velocity on the x-axis is greater than 0, it must mean we're pushing the right arrow to move to the right. Okay, so that's why we want our girl facing to the right. And this last little bit where it says else, you can get rid of it. Hit the little minus symbol and it's gone. Now we can test it out. Okay, if I press the left arrow, you can see my sprite facing to the left. If I press the right arrow, she moves to the right. Okay, so left and right is working well. Easy as that. And the last thing I'm going to do here with the girl is get her jumping. Okay, so go to your controller and grab out the second block of code there that says on A button pressed. Okay, that's the same thing as saying on spacebar pressed. Okay, so when we press the spacebar or the A button, we're going to need to do another if-then statement. So go to logic, just grab the first one this time, just an if-then. We don't need the else. And we're going to go back to logic and look for the equals sign, so the 0 equals 0, and drop it on the word true. And we're looking at the girl's velocity on the y-axis. Okay, so let's try and find, in sprite, sorry. We're going to go down to this one, my sprite X, and it's going to be girl, and we're looking up velocity Y. If it equals 0, that means she's not jumping in the air, then we want to allow her to jump. If she's in the air, we're not going to allow her to jump because we don't want to do double jumps and triple jumps because that's just cheating. Okay, so head back over to your sprites drawer here, and we are going to go to the one that says set, this one, set X to 0. It's going to be set the girl's velocity Y to, and we're going to put in minus 150. That's going to move her up the page. Okay, remember, if you want to move your sprite up the page, you need to go in the negatives. If you want to move it down the page, that's when the number gets bigger, generally in the positives. Alright, let's give that a test run. So if we press spacebar now, oops, you can see our girl is jumping here in the game. So we can move about, no worries. I might make this big so you can see it a bit better. Okay, these platforms haven't been set up to work well, but you get the idea. So you can move around now, and we've got the basics of our platform game looking pretty good there. Alright, so I don't think there's anything else we need to really add in this video. We've got the movements set up nicely. We'll come back in the next video and get a proper tile map set up so we can set up our first level, and we'll also have a look at going into our second level as well. Alright, so I will catch you in that next video shortly.